Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to deconstruct the genius of Lionel Messi. We're talking science, struggle, and just pure will. All the things that turned a kid who was told he was too small into an absolute legend. So let's just dive right in. The story of Lionel Messi, it's not just about some once-in-a-generation talent. No, it's a masterclass in turning what should have been a massive disadvantage into your greatest weapon. We're going to trace his journey, from a diagnosis that could have ended his career, all the way to lifting the World Cup, and you'll see exactly how his biggest weakness became his ultimate strength.
All right, so our story doesn't start on some fancy European field. It starts in a doctor's office in Rosario, Argentina. You've got this kid with unbelievable talent, but he's facing a challenge that has absolutely nothing to do with a soccer ball. 4'4". At 11 years old, that was Lionel Messi's height. Now get this, he hadn't grown an inch in 2 years. For any kid, that's worrying, right? But for a kid dreaming of being a pro athlete, that's basically a death sentence for your career before it even gets going.
So the diagnosis comes back, growth hormone deficiency, or GHD. The only treatment? Daily injections of human growth hormone. And the cost was, well, staggering. We're talking $1,500 a month. For his family, his dad was a steelworker, his mom a part-time cleaner. This was just a crushing amount of money. And his local club, they just couldn't afford to cover it long term.
And this is where everything changes. Picture it, he's just 13 years old. His entire future is just hanging by a thread, and he flies to Spain for a trial with FC Barcelona. The club's sporting director, a guy named Carlos Rexach, was so completely blown away that he, and this is famous, he drew up a contract for Messi right there on the spot, on a paper napkin. He promised Barcelona would pay for all of his medical treatments. You know, that napkin didn't just sign a player, it literally saved a career.
Okay, so with his health finally secured, Messi was now free to really unleash his gifts at Barcelona's famous academy, La Masia. So let's get into the science of it, because what looks like pure magic on the field is actually this incredible mix of lightning-fast thinking and some really unique body mechanics. You have to understand, before he even gets the ball, Messi's brain is working in overdrive. He's constantly scanning the field, processing where every defender is, anticipating their next move, and spotting tiny pockets of open space. It's this super-fast read-process-act loop that means he often knows what a defender is going to do before the defender even knows it himself. It's not just about being fast on your feet, it's about being fast in your head.
And here is the real kicker, where his biggest problem becomes his superpower. His final height, 5'7", gives him a naturally lower center of gravity. What does that mean? It means he can make those impossibly quick, sharp turns and cuts while staying perfectly balanced. It's an agility that taller players with their higher center of gravity just can't physically match. He doesn't just run with the ball, he basically weaponizes his own stature. So when you put it all together, you see the whole picture. It's this perfect storm of physical and mental gifts. His brain has this elite built-in GPS that's controlling his balance and body awareness. His nervous system is so highly trained he can pull off incredibly complex moves. And then you throw in those fast-twitch muscle fibers for that insane burst of speed that just leaves defenders in the dust. It's the whole package.
So with his body and skills just dialed into perfection, Messi started to just, well, rewrite the record books. His time at the club level, especially with FC Barcelona, is honestly one of the most dominant runs by any single player in the history of sports.
672. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's the all-time record for goals scored for a single club. He did that in 778 games for FC Barcelona. It's just a mind-blowing testament to his consistency and his absolute refusal to be anything but the best.
And as you can see here, his genius wasn't just limited to Spain. Look at how his role changed a bit at PSG. He became more of a playmaker, racking up assists. But then his move to Inter Miami, wow, a massive return to his goal-scoring ways. It just proves he can adapt and completely dominate in any league, on any continent.
Okay, this is just incredible. Look at that goals per game ratio. At Inter Miami, in what should be the twilight of his career, his scoring rate is actually higher than it was during his legendary peak at Barcelona. That is absolutely stunning. It just shows you the quality never, ever fades. But for all the trophies, for all the records at his clubs, there was always this one massive weight on his shoulders. The hunt for a major trophy with his home country, with Argentina. Man, that was a journey just filled with heartbreak and unbelievable national pressure. And this timeline, it just captures that whole crazy roller coaster. You see the early promise, right? The Olympic gold in 2008. But then, that gut-wrenching loss in the 2014 World Cup final. For years, it really looked like it might just never happen for him with Argentina. And then, late in his career, he gets the ultimate redemption. First, winning the Copa America in 2021, and then, finally, getting his hands on the World Cup in 2022. And look, he didn't just win the 2022 World Cup. He basically strapped the entire team to his back and carried them there. He scored in the group stage, the round of 16, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the final. A performance for the history books. It was a moment that cemented his legacy and, for most people, ended the debate for good.
So, with every single major trophy now sitting in his cabinet, the final chapters of Messi's career are about something more than just soccer. They're about building a legacy that goes way beyond the field.
And this is so important. His impact is felt far away from any stadium. Through his foundation, his work with UNICEF, he has consistently used his massive global platform to fight for vulnerable children, making sure they have access to healthcare and education. It's a really powerful part of who he is. So you go from a kid who was told he was too small to ever make it as a professional, to standing alone as arguably the greatest player to ever touch a soccer ball. Messi's career is the ultimate story of turning your limitations into your greatest strengths. It's this incredible mix of natural talent, a scientific advantage, and just an unbreakable will to win. So the only question left is, what does the final chapter even look like for a player who's already beaten the game?